do you think are the things that people, and I'm especially thinking of your opponents, get wrong about you?
Their basic proposition is that, first of all, that I'm a right-winger of some sort, and that's just not the case.
Hi guys, just want to remind you all that Jordan Peterson is not a socially conservative lifestyle guru, and he certainly isn't white Deepak Chopra taking advantage of men who feel alienated in our increasingly divided hell world. And you know what? In this short video essay, I will prove that to you. There are plenty of other things I'd love to talk about Peterson, but it would never fit in the format of just one video. So if you have any additional questions or tell me how much I suck, you can direct them to me directly at twitch.tv/HasanAbi, where I'm live every day, or on my Instagram at Hasan Piker, or on my Twitter at Hasan the Hun. But first, let's listen to some of the things Jordan Peterson said in this Breitbart exclusive from a conference where he was the guest speaker alongside many of these other non-ideologue individuals like Sebastian Gorka and Dennis Prager and Tucker Carlson. Here he is with Charlie Kirk, Donald Trump Jr., Kimberly Guilfoyle, and even Jack Pizzagate Posobiec. Not a conservative, by the way, just not a conservative.
I think it's partly also a consequence of the fact that we haven't adapted to the birth control pill yet. It was a major technological revolution, the birth control pill, and it's only been 50 years. And we haven't figured out what it means for women to have control over the reproductive function, or what the consequences what the consequences of that should be socially.
Now, Jordan has a lot of wacky ideas about women in the workplace, but that's for another video. In this video, I want to talk about his perspective on trans rights, because that's a big point of contention for a lot of people, including feminist, liberal TERFs, or for those of you who are not extremely online, trans exclusionary radical feminists, basically people who say like this.
I'm not saying that people should not be allowed to go through that procedure. What I'm saying is it doesn't make them a woman.
But Hasan, you said he was conservative, and this person's a liberal, and they're in agreement. Yeah, that's also for another video. Okay, back to Peterson. Jordan Peterson initially made a name for himself by misrepresenting Bill C-16 in Canada, which expanded previous legislation on hate speech to include gender identity, in accordance with international human rights. And of course, the backlash was tremendous. People started praising Dr. Peterson as a brave truth teller, finally standing up against those trans bastards who dared to ask for equal rights. And of course, then there were a lot of radical ideologues who claimed that I, Dr. Jordan Peterson, was transphobic. They were all somehow taking me out of context. Look, I'm not against trans people existing. I'm just against being compelled to call someone by a pronoun other than what I think they should be called.
Why are you against the use of alternate pronouns?
I'm against the use of legislation to determine what words that myself and other people are required to utter.
Except the Canadian Bar Association expressly mentions that this is simply a mischaracterization of the law, which is probably why 0 people have gone to jail over misgender crimes in Canada. But what do I know?
I think I've made my position on that clear already. Well, perhaps not to our audience at home who are just being introduced to this. Would you use alternate pronouns? And why not? Because I don't believe that other people have the right to determine what language I use, especially when it's backed by punitive legislation. And when the words that are being required are the constructions, they're artificial constructions of people I regard as radical ideologues whose viewpoint I do not share.
I mean, Peterson's being totally reasonable here, right? Like if a person told me their name was John, I might refuse to call them that because I think their name is actually Bart. Sorry, Bart, you can't compel me to call you anything else. This assignment is totally not arbitrary. Just like gender is totally not a social construct. All men have to express themselves in this traditionally masculine, Western sense, and I've never cared to research how other cultures view gender. Sorry, not going to do it. Someone with less bone density than myself, for example, who can't grow body hair, facial hair, who is 5'4", maybe has a higher pitch, is now going to be considered a woman since gender is absolutely binary. Take that, Jen Shapiro. She is pretty hot though. But speaking of gender identity and how it absolutely is not functional if we were to live by Jordan Peterson's rules, let's play a little experiment. What pronouns would you use for this person? What pronouns would you use for this person? Well, how about this person? Or even this beautiful MAGA broad? Or this person whose YouTube channel you should absolutely watch because she's amazing even though she doesn't reply to my DMs on Twitter. Like, imagine meeting up with Valentina Sampaio at a restaurant. How would you point her out? Dr. Peterson claims he called them by the pronoun assigned to them at birth, which is literally insane. For those of you who didn't get the point that I was making, every single person I just showed you are very famous trans people. But yeah, this is totally about free speech and not because Jordan Peterson is a transphobe or whatever.
Do you think a trans woman is a woman?
No.
Oh, So that's why he was refusing to do that. I mean, this is a principled academic philosopher king. We're probably taking him out of context. I'm sure he has reasons. Give us your reasons, Dr. Peterson.
Why not?
Because I think that women are capable, generally speaking, of having babies, and they have female genitalia, and they have an XX chromosome, and I think the biological markers are relevant.
Okay. First off, Buck Angel has XX chromosomes and female genitalia, so I'd be hard-pressed for Dr. Peterson to point out to him in a crowd and try to get others to identify him as a woman, since all of those standards apply to old Buck. Also, are we no longer considering girls who haven't had their first periods women? What about women who have gone through menopause? Sorry, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, you're no longer a woman. I will be referring to you as a male now. Do you see my point? Socially speaking, the reality is that we make assumptions about gender from visual cues and not off of chromosomes. Yet the leading champion of the scientific argument constantly conflates biological gender with the contextual assignment of gender we apply socially every day. But even on the biological front, Peterson's principled analysis falls short, since there are plenty of people who would be considered intersex, specifically 1.7% of the world's population. In context, by the way, if you want to say that, well, that's a tiny minority of people who gives a well, you're a douchebag. Also, that number is higher than the number of Jewish people on this planet. Okay, have you made it up to this point? Now, here are some personal opinions that I have that will most likely piss off some people who considered me an ally up to this point. So if you're deep into gender theory, this might upset you, and if you're a trans person, you might think I'm excusing transphobia, so there it is, I'm issuing a trigger warning. Are we alone yet? Okay, I get why this concept is terrifyingly alien to so many people, okay? This is partially due to centuries of oppression, lack of medical advances, the Nazis setting back trans research by centuries with their book burnings, and in this day and age, a lack of representation in media. I get it. It's already difficult enough to defend your worldview on things that you barely understand, like complex political theories, but changing your mind on something as concrete as gender that you've been conditioned into thinking about in a binary way requires tremendous amounts of introspection. So here is my olive branch to those who haven't had to think about this until now. Trans women are women, and trans men are men. So while I understand that your only introduction to trans folk has probably been hysterical college freshmen on YouTube compilations screaming at your intellectual daddy, there's more to it than that. There are plenty of brilliant trans men and women who are more informed on this subject than myself, and I highly suggest you take a look at their work, especially ones that immediately come to mind right now are ContraPoints, and I already mentioned her in the video, and my esteemed moderator, IzzyBear713 on Twitch, who you can literally ask questions directly about trans issues and activism, live on her Twitch. I'm Hasan Piker. If this video opened your mind a little bit, please share it with your friends, and don't forget to like it and leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Also, for a longer conversation, you can join me at my Twitch at twitch.tv/HasanAbi. I'm live every day after 5 p.m. Pacific. And if you want to support TYT, please do that by going to tyt.com/Hasan and joining TYT membership. It's only $5 a month, and it greatly helps. You can promote independent media this way. And this has been The Breakdown. Did you know that TYT Network is now available on YouTube's new streaming platform, YouTube TV? Get access to full TYT episodes and exclusive shows by signing up for YouTube TV today. All new subscribers get a 7-day free trial, so head on over to youtube.tv and search for the TYT Network channel.